love you. I love you.
Beloveds, it brings me great joy to welcome you into this season of return, when we celebrate in gatherings and come back to each other in our congregations and our communities writ large. For me personally, this is a time of return to our Unitarian Universalist Association, and I am humbled by your trust in me as your president. Thank you for the love and support you have shown me, not just during last year's presidential campaign, but during General Assembly in Pittsburgh. Thank you, UUs. We are at the start of our shared ministry together, and we have been invited to consider a whole new way of visioning and resourcing our UUA. Our Commission on Institutional Change has invited us into a type of collaboration that we have not yet fully envisioned. This is work that I cannot do without you, certainly work that I cannot do without our remarkable UUA staff, and I am looking forward to all that we will accomplish together. Beloveds, this is a time to think about and reflect on the call of Unitarian Universalism in these days. Who are we meant to be collectively? And how do we care for one another along the way? In this coming year, once again, we get to lean into our shared values and talk about and discuss and chew on how we express those together as we come back to the next year of work on Article 2. More than just bylaws, however, it matters how we story ourselves into being. Those messages will guide us in our work to come. In this year, we are responding to the call of justice in our nation and around the globe. Beloveds, I know these are difficult times. I know that we are sometimes afraid. I know that we need one another, that there is strength in religious community, and that progressive religious community is called to be a counter-cultural response to what can seem like the inevitable outcome of society today. We believe in human goodness. It is a radical idea. Our liberal tradition guides us toward liberation because we become more free when we are in this work together, when we promote our values together, when we lead together. I want to invite you to sit with me in reflection on all that Unitarian Universalism is called to be in these days. How are you asked? How are you inspired to live your faith in the world? What does your congregation, this community, specialize in? Where is your mission most needed in the surrounding community? And how do we care for one another as we go? Loves, we are called to communal care like never before. We see this in this time when we are re-emerging from the quarantine stage of pandemic. And let me take a moment to say, wow, did we hold one another beautifully and well in these last years. Please let us not lose the lessons we learned about how to hold one another in care, how to protect the health of all, how to center the needs of those most vulnerable among us, so that community writ large continues. What have you learned in these recent years? How are you sharing those learnings with other UUs and with other members of your community? This is the work of communal care as we steward this faith together. Beloveds, I am grateful for each and every one of you. As I said, I cannot do this work alone. This is work we do together. And I cannot do this remarkable ministry without your phenomenal UUA staff. I want to ask you to treat your leaders, leaders of all kinds, religious professionals, lay leaders, elders, youth, emerging adults, all those who shape us in new ways. Hold your leaders with love. We are all tired. Much is asked of us, and there are wonderful things yet to come. Together, we will reimagine the workings and expressions of this faith, and we will hold on to the traditions and theologies and commitments that have made us who we are. This is beloved community. This is communal care in a season of return. I can't wait to continue this ministry with all of you. Be well, beloveds.
Please stand and join in hymn number 359 as we affirm Reverend Betancourt's message to us. Janice? When we are gathered for a time of worship and of song, let none forget the joys and griefs that mark it without perfectness. We reach for those who love. We reach for those who love. When youth shall pass and time is wise and countless seasons turn. So day by day our years increase, till at last my life released, our spirits shine like stars. Our spirits shine like stars. Remain standing for our covenant, please.
We unite to strengthen the bonds of kinship among all persons, to promote human dignity, and to increase reverence for life's creating, sustaining, and transforming power through worship, study, and service. Thank you. You may be seated.
You may be seated unless you are one of the youth that wants to come forward for the story, or the young part. I have my first customer. Now, I am telling the story today. I am the Reverend Denise Cawley. My pronouns are she and hers, and I am the interim minister here. Now, some of you might need a prop. I'm telling the story, so you're going to look at me. There's no pictures this week. So if you would like a frog, please pass it around. You can wear a frog during the story and then return it to me. Let me see where I can put this in case I forget the story. Anyone else need a frog? Here, can you give out some frogs? Thank you. All right, who knows the story of Turtle Island? Anyone know that? No? Okay, look at me, look at me. We gotta have, I know, you got some cool bugs. Now we also have some awesome props up here. So when I talk about different things, who wants to hold you wanna hold the fish? Okay. And then we're gonna have a turtle in this story. Who wants to hold a turtle? Okay, hold on. Here you go, Kayla. And we have a beaver in this story, and I really think this is a hedgehog, but we're gonna pretend, because can you believe there were no, okay, and you can have another turtle. We couldn't find any, and I was brought a wildebeest, which is not in the story, but you might need one when you hear a sound. Okay. So I'm not telling you the story of Turtle Island today. I'm telling you a different story, but it looks like you don't know the story of Turtle Island, so maybe next week I'll tell you that one. It's a dog toy, you think? I think you're right. Yeah. Because sometimes dogs need toys too, right? Okay, so on this story, there's a turtle, and he lives in a pond. This is our pond, right? And this turtle loved his small pond. There was like a grassy knoll. I'm the story. There's no story up there today. I know. I didn't bring pictures. You have to try something new. It happens in your imagination. I know you all have one. Okay, so there's this turtle, and he's in his little pond, and he loves this pond. And there's like this grassy side of the pond, and on the sides of the pond, sometimes there are frogs. Show me. Frogs, yeah. And there are fish in the pond. Hold up your fish when you hear. You have a fish too, good. So hold up you're getting how this works. They're also making sculpture up here with the toys. It's awesome. Okay, so the turtle, hold the turtle up when I say turtle. This is like a test. Anybody got a turtle? You got a turtle, you got to hold them up too. We can have more than one. So the turtle loves his pond. It's got fish, it's got trees all around it. There's like some birch and some oak. And in winter, when it starts to get colder in the pond, he goes way down to the bottom of the pond and he piles a bunch of mud up, right? So he sleeps in the mud, right, with the turtle. Yeah, and the fish go down deep too, and they get, some of them still swim around, but some of the fish, they're kind of quieter in the winter, right? So then he sleeps all through the winter, and then the pond starts to warm up. And the turtle starts to wake up. Hold up your turtles. All right. The turtle starts to wake up and he starts to swim. He's swimming and swimming. He's swimming and he's not getting to the top. The pond is deeper. And when he swims some more up to the top, he passes by a whole lot of fish. There's a lot more fish in the pond. Yeah, fish. And he's like, why is the pond deeper? And then he gets up there and there's so much sun. Where did all the trees go? And then, be ready. And then he sees someone new in the pond. He sees Beaver. Beaver has a big tail that goes, yeah, whap, 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 whap. And he says, hey, what are you doing here in my pond? And where did my trees go? And Beaver says, I took those trees down with my big teeth. And I made this great dam. Yeah, and I dug that pond out deeper because your pond wasn't very deep, you know, and I was going to make it mine. I moved into the pond. Yeah. And Turtle's like, hey, wait a minute. I didn't ask you to do that. And what are you doing here? This is not your pond. This is my pond. Right? What have you done? And who are you? Beaver says, this isn't your pond. This is my pond. I rearranged it. I got rid of the trees. I built a dam. Well, Turtle says, I am mad about this because this is my pond and you don't belong here. I want you out. I didn't want any changes to the pond. I like the pond the way it is. Well, Beaver says, well, you gotta go because I got big teeth. I got big scary teeth. Yeah. They're long and they're yellow and they're really sharp, right? And Turtle goes, uh-oh, this doesn't look good. He says, well, I think we should have a contest. Turtle against Beaver. Turtle against Beaver. Right? And the Beaver says, that's a great idea. I'll call all my family and friends in. We all have big teeth and we'll just bite your head off. We'll eat you. It'll be great. I know. Right? No, that doesn't sound good, right? And Turtle was like, man, I better think fast here because that sounds scary. And those teeth look really big, really big. So Turtle goes, I have a better idea. Let's have a contest about who swims underwater the best. And Beaver says, hey, that's great because I can stay underwater for a whole day. How long can you stay underwater? How long do you think Turtle can stay underwater? I know, but this is a turtle, and the turtles don't normally stay all the way under a whole day. They need more air every so often, right? Yeah. Right, unless they're hibernating. And we're not hibernating anymore. It's warm in the pond, right? So Turtle is like, okay, that's bad. I can't win that contest. Let's have a contest to see who's faster. And Beaver's like, I got it. I am so fast. Let's do that. And Turtle thinks really quick. And Turtle says, I'll tell you what. I swim so fast, it wouldn't be fair to start at the same time as you. So I'll start right behind you. Right? And Beaver's like, okay, great. So on your mark, get set, go. They start to swim. Beaver is swimming and swimming, and Turtle is like, I am in big trouble because he is way out there faster than me. And so Turtle has an idea. Turtle does a big push and grabs onto Beaver's tail. And what sound does Beaver's tail make? Whap, 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 whap. Right? Whap, 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 whap. Right? It's big, big thing, and it fans as it goes. And so Turtle grabs Beaver's tail. And he's hanging on for dear life. Right? Getting flung all over. And then just as Beaver's tail goes up in the air for the next flap, Turtle lets go and he flies through the air, and he lands on the shore. And Beaver opens his eyes as he reaches shore, and there's Turtle. And he says, oh my gosh, you were faster. You do swim faster. You beat me. And Turtle says, yes, and now you must leave forever. It's my pond. So Beaver sulks off and has to go find a new home and build a new dam. And then Turtle is really proud of himself, right? Because he cheated. He beat Beaver, but not really fair. And then he realizes that the pond has a whole lot more fish, and it has more frogs, and the air is nicer in the pond. It's healthier, all because of what Beaver had done. But Turtle didn't notice it at first, right? Yeah, he didn't notice it. And then Turtle sees that all the trees start to grow back. And so they weren't gone forever, right? And so indeed, Turtle now has the best pond in the whole world because of the help that the friends gave. So now it's time. We're going to sing you all off. It's our first day of religious exploration. I know some of you are very excited. You can put your props back on the pond. And new this year for all of the caregivers and parents, somebody lost their name tag, check the name tag floor, is that we're going to have class, yes, your name tag's on your head, that's excellent. There's a couple new things. One, every youth has a name tag this year that we want them to wear whenever they're in the building, because these people are really important to our congregation and our community. And so I want you to get to know them as people. And you can ask them things besides how old they are, like what they like to do, right? And what they care about. And then we also are going to have religious exploration go until 11:15. If you didn't register, you're still allowed to go back. We will hunt you and your family down after service because we only have 17 kids registered. So last year we had over 40. Where did they go? Right? I don't think they're gone. I think people forgot to register. So you can register and still go. So those are the two big things. If you get done with RE early, you can always come to coffee hour. You're welcome, but we want to let you have a longer lesson, and we want name tags, and we want everyone to get to know them. And with that, Allison and the choir will sing you all off. It's this little light of mine this time. I'm going to ask you to join me in a spirit of meditation and prayer. A few of you contacted me yesterday because there was something very sad and awful that happened about 3 miles from the church on Friday night. And there were 2 boys who were 16 years old who lost their lives to gun violence on Friday night, just 3 miles from the church. You may have seen it on the news. Eduardo Alpizar died at the scene, and the second victim, Uriel Garcia, was taken by the Palatine Fire Department to Lutheran General, where he later died. And while most of us don't know these children, we may suspect that some of our youth do. And at the same time, we are in this season of Rosh Hashanah where we celebrate the sweetness of life, and we inscribe names on the book of life that we hope everyone gets another year. And so I just wanted us to hold a moment of silence for those boys as we just send love out into the world and appreciation to all that we do have, but love and condolences to those families. We have themes at Countryside UU. They're Soul Matters themes, and this month's theme is welcome and hospitality. And we honor all the ways that we create that in ourselves and with each other and the congregation. And as Unitarian Universalists, we are called to create a holy welcome, a blessed welcome, a welcome filled with love with one another. Holy are the places of memory, the places which have formed us, where we store the icons of success and shattered dreams, and gather the threads and pieces of what we would become. Holy are the places of memory. Holy are the places we dream, places over the rainbow, where all the children are wanted and kept safe and fed, where colors are a source of celebration and youth and age come to the table as one. Holy are the places we dream. Holy are the places of change, sometimes pain, the places of struggle, where the rivers of our lives run white and fast, and we hold on like turtle. We hold on and we grow. Holy are the places of change. Holy are the places of pain. Holy is made in places of connection, places where we experience that spark, places where we risk ourselves, where hands, touch souls, touch minds, and awareness still, we change lives. Holy are the places of connection. Holy are the places of becoming, the places of clear vision, where life and the world are intertwined, and we can see forever in this moment. And we give thanks. Holy are the places of becoming. Blessed is the ground on which we stand, holy and whole making this place.
a reading. We gather together in spiritual community because we need constant reminders of what matters most in life. In a world of heartbreak and dehumanization, our congregations and our communities call us to our better selves. We learn to live with more wisdom, more connection, and more compassion. Our worship services are weekly reflections that weave together our own thoughts and experiences with music, beauty, poetry, and words that both comfort and challenge. Our programs for all ages inspire us and awaken us to our capacities to make a difference in our own lives and in the world. We are inspired not just by religious sources, but by the people with whom we journey, the diverse and spirited Unitarian Universalists. Our faith is not interested in saving your soul. We're here to help you unfold the awesome soul you already have.
Today in our story, we learned about Turtle and Beaver. I really like this story and I revisit it a lot, and I always wonder, who are you in the story? Who am I in the story? It's very situational, right? The times that we've been upset about things changing, the times we learned that the change was actually to benefit us. Who is worship for you, symbolizing in turtle and beaver and fish and frog? Are you pushing someone out in your life somewhere, even though you mean well and you think your way is the best? Could turtle and beaver have found a way to worship together? Are you finding room for more fish in your pond? Now, Lois just shared a reading about why we gather in spiritual community, because we need constant reminders of what matters in life. The etymology of the word worship is a condition of being worthy, of having dignity and glory and distinction, honor. And it's derived from the word worthy. So each week, I aim to create an experience here for you that is worthy of your time, that is worthy of your spirit, and one of great distinction. Now, for some, the word worship means to have a sense of reverence paid, perhaps to God, perhaps to a supernatural being, perhaps to something divine. For some, they come here to worship God and to give dignity to God. They may have a definition of God like you or a very different one. Some come here to show their respect for themselves, respect for growth, respect for change, and seeing the light and the holy in one another. Occasionally I'm asked, why do we have worship? Why do we do that? Or why do UUs have worship if we're not all praying or paying our respects to the honor of a God that we all see as the same? Right? Part of the etymology of the word worship is showing that dignity for us, and we offer kinship and dignity and reverence to one another. It's a really difficult thing to do alone. You could have your own worship, but it just doesn't feel the same. Worship is a time we gather together and we can see the holy, and I believe that even atheists and agnostics can witness the holy, that spark when you connect with someone, that spark in your soul when you hear a really good idea, or when you know you got a message that, boy, did you need, right? In this time of Rosh Hashanah, it is a time of us to see sweetness in one another. If we break down the word worship, it comes from the adjective worthy. Worship is meant to be significant, worthy, valuable, appreciated, highly thought of, deserving of our time, deserving. Your spirit deserves to be here. Your brain deserves to be here. Your body deserves to be around people who think like you or who can challenge you. It is something meriting honor, noble, of high rank, and that is why I encourage you so much to make this time worthy in your week. Please invite your friends to join you. You know people who you think, why aren't they here? Right? Maybe they need an invitation. It's one of the top reasons that people join UU churches is that someone invited them. We don't do it because we think that we'll get more merits in heaven. We don't do it because we think that God will reward us. We do it because it's good for our soul. It's good for our psychology. It's good for us to interact with people who may or may not be like us. This is a time to pause and love ourselves and share love and gentleness with one another. I always kind of laugh at myself. When I have a Sunday off, I will go and look for a worship service to attend. I'm off, and I still seem to want to go. I also love to go with family and friends. I have this set of photos of my son and his best friend, and they are in First Milwaukee, and they are reading the hymnal and laughing in the middle of church. I don't know what is in there that's so funny, but it was hilarious to these boys, right? It's such a treasured memory that I even snapped pictures sideways with my camera because I thought, who does this, right? But worship is a way that I connect with others. See, the word ship comes from the word state or condition of being, a quality or condition, an act, a power, or a skill. And it is about the relation between. Ship is about the relation between. And that is what makes worship worthy of our time. It helps me and it helps you understand the relationship of one thing to another. We come here to make meaning. I see it as a privilege that I get to be here with you. And I try very hard to honor what a privilege it is to be here to plan this time. And I look out and I see all of you who I may know are dealing with some very tough things. I often know those stories and I look at your faces and I see that. I know that some of you are coming here because you are lonely, and I want to lift that there is nothing wrong with being lonely and coming here and seeking community. We come here when we're going from one stage in life to another. What does it mean to be reading what we're reading about the climate, about the storms, about the government? How do we relate to those in-between places? I know I come here to try to get some meaning to that. There was a meeting this week, the exec team was meeting, and one of the people started it out saying, "Oh, I'm in a really sad mood. I'm reading all the news, and I just feel really depressed." And then we had our meeting, and we honored that that person was holding sadness. And at the end of the meeting, she said to me, "I'm not depressed anymore because I have all of you. Because we worked on things that are exciting." And that's the funny thing, too, is sometimes we work on worship. Now, as an interim minister, I do not have the luxury of planning out 10 years with y'all, right? I have this short little window to be with you, and that transitions office gives me a list like this long of all the stuff we should cover, and then there's whatever y'all come with, right? There's things that this church needed to work out. And then we're in this funny time where we're trying to get you really used to things being different all the time so that when the next minister comes and they are seated, you don't say, we don't do that. What are you doing that for? Right? We want you to say, oh, look what they're doing. Wow, let's go play. I'm also keeping in mind the 5 areas of interim ministry, and I keep reminding you what these are. Heritage is reviewing how the congregation has been shaped and formed. Mission, defining and redefining our sense of purpose and direction. Leadership is how we run this place and reviewing the needs you all have, and are we still doing the things that the congregation needs and wants, right? And values? Are our values in line? Connections is the 4th one. That one is so important. You saw last year we worked so hard on that. Discovering and nurturing the relationships we have as a faith community. And then this year we're going to spend a lot of time on future. In Heritage, we had 2 timelines we built, right? There's one in Atherton Hall, timeline of the whole church. And then we got into it, we realized there were like 1 million stories about religious exploration. So we made another timeline. Bill Huber envisioned these timelines. I'd go to bat that I think we have the prettiest timeline in Atherton. And I said to someone, maybe it's time to take it down. And 4 people went, no, we're still reading it. Great. I also had Barry Burr photograph it, and I need to make it into some kind of video. Right? And the religious exploration one, what a gift that's going to be to when we have a new religious exploration manager start. Today. Yeah. Her name is Marta. I'm going to introduce you next week. I didn't want to scare you and her. Well, I didn't want to scare her, not you. Right? Hi! It's your first day! But it's going to be a gift to the next settled minister, too, to really look at all the things we've done so that we can change what we've done and look at what's good and look at what we need to adjust. You've heard lots of stuff about us working on mission a lot. You know the interim transitions team as well as the board have been taking apart big systems and looking at stewardship and the budget and how do we talk about these things and what makes sense and what is the outreach steering committee and what does that mean? I can imagine a new settled minister saying, right? Because it sounds like marketing. And we'll go, no, we have this other thing we do, right? Those are all things to just poke and examine and look at and say, look at these gifts that we have here. Now, last year we spent a lot of time on connections because not only did we need it as any old church community, but we also needed it because we'd been locked away with COVID and not coming to church. And so we did tons of small group sessions. Do you know this is the #1 way to create health in a church system? Is to have small group discussions on the same topic rather than big meetings on the same topic. Because if Lois thinks one thing, right, and then she gets paired next to Susan, and Susan's like, come on, Lois, come on, I don't think that's going to work, but what about this? You all talking to each other is the best way to create health and change amongst one another. And next, you're going to see the search team doing 3 sessions of small talk. It's like that. And you're still going to see the interim transitions team doing that. And I urge you to think of those as a gift. Those are a gift for you to get to know more people in the congregation. Another reason that we made name tags this year, I've been begging for these since I got here for all the youth. They had name tags in their classroom, but not when they walked around the building, is that we have one of the highest rates of youth leaving our faith. Unitarian Universalists do this thing that's really different than most faiths, and we send kids away during worship. And they have found that by doing that and telling all the kids that what happens in worship is really boring, is that we pretty much guarantee that they will leave this faith when they are 18 years old. And one of the top ways to prevent that, well, one would be to change how we do RE in worship, and we'll talk about that. But the other one is that every person in the church needs at least 5 people who know about them, check on them, know not just their name, but what they care about. And so I want you to all get to know our youth and kids, because I found it really hard to get to know them without name tags, right? We want that. That's one thing, is that everybody, adults and kids alike, all need 5 people, at least 5 connections, to help root us here. Well, Rev DC, you only want us to interact and stuff so that we stay here. I want you to do that so that you have each other. I want you to have one another through all of the times of change. Because I don't know about you, but I feel kind of scared with some of the stuff going on in the world. Right? We'll be talking a lot about future and future at this congregation and how to work with your next settled minister on some of those things that you're bubbling up as super interested in. Now, I'm talking a lot about connections, and the sermon is titled, What is Worship? What is the purpose of having people come to worship? And what do you think the difference is between y'all just sitting here and having worship happen and deciding if I'm inspirational enough to up your pledge or to come next week, or I'll just watch it on Zoom? Some of you need to watch it on Zoom. Hi, Zoomland. Right? And some of you are testing us out, and you'll watch it on Zoom only after you've watched our YouTube channel for a number of videos, right? The other thing that changed last year a lot was how many people were involved in making worship happen. Why do you think I did that? Anyone know? To build community. Right? So that was a strengthening of community activity that I had you all working on, and I'm only going to continue. Because if you help create the ritual, it has more meaning to you. You have a greater opportunity to change you and to connect with others, and it is in that creating the ritual that creates a spiritual experience. Spiritual, that elusive word, right? That word that y'all love to tell me, I really want worship to be more spiritual. People love saying that. And if I then say, what does that mean to you? The most common answer I get is, spiritual. And I say, what is spiritual to you? And you often say, well, it's that feeling, right? It's hard to aim at something that we don't know where we're going. But I'm going to tell you a secret. One of the main reasons I started putting more people into services and using more people in services was because I knew that was going to be a big change for you. People told me that it was just the worship associate and the minister most of the time. And then we had the pageant once a year, and that was the time we put a lot of people in, and then we have the choir. And we like it, because that's like we can sit there in our seats and thank you. Thanks for doing that. I like it. Was it good or not? Did she get me out on time? Right? So you had a worship team, and ultimately the staff were in charge of making worship happen. Now, I went a little bananas with this because y'all got really excited when I had more of you help. Do you know we had several services last year that had 25 people? I'm not even talking about the pageant. And we had the Article 2 skit, we had the speech choir, and we had more people reading, and we had way more families coming up here, and we had kids doing chalice lightings, and then we got youth worship associates. I did this because I felt it was my sense of duty to you as an interim minister to make sure that you got your value out of worship, right? And that you got change, and that you would be nimble and ready for the next minister. So it was awesome to see you get really excited. That was one of the first outcomes that happened. The second outcome is that I would rarely sleep the night before I did that. And a lot of people know that's kind of typical. I worry so much about making all the transitions and everyone hitting their mark and getting their entrance and not forgetting their part and that kind of thing that I rarely sleep. I was a nervous mess. And I knew this was a growing edge for me. If you don't know what growing edge is, look up Parker Palmer, Growing Edge. Now, our lovely and talented music director, Allison Vernon, would watch me do these things, and she would say, "You know, you're a lot like Marcia McPhee. I think you should go to class with Marcia McPhee." And she encouraged me all year to go to class, and I was like, I'm an interim minister. I don't have to be that good at worship. Right? Do I really have to be good at that? I'm not so sure about this idea of going and studying with someone who's a worship designer. Yes, they're a preacher and an author, but they're a ritual artist. Would I really use that as an interim minister? Well, Allison is rather persuasive. And she was like, but they have this dance and musical theater background, and they use arts, and it looks a lot like things you're doing. Even Lois has gone to study with Marcia McPhee. She went when Reverend Hillary went, right? And she teaches in all kinds of denominations, all kinds of settings all over the world. So off I went with Allison to Nevada, which is not a state I travel to, But I got a lot of tips about incorporating more people in worship and creating participatory worship. And I wanted that because I wanted less nervousness. Now, you may have noticed last week we had quite a bit of participation, and I still didn't sleep the night before, but I'm working on it. I think I got a couple hours, so it's improving. You may recall the bridging ceremony we did where we played and we formed a human bridge, right? And we had the flower communion that same day, and I had to bless each other. And we had costumes. We had bees and butterflies and people wearing antennae. And I had you bless one another. And last week at the water service, you didn't just sing, right? Which was awesome. We had great music, but we also had art making, and we rearranged this place, and we built this pond that I'm going to use next week too. So lots of cool technical how-to, but remember, my job here is to help you have this deep, profound, meaningful experience in worship. And the thing is, I can't do it alone. For you to have that experience, you have to participate. One of the first things you can do is show up so that you can hear the beautiful prelude and the music that plays before the service starts, so that you're not scrambling in. I need the best parking spot. Move on. Why did they park there? And you come in here and you're all a jumble. There are a lot of spots in the lot early, let me tell you. Now, in doing all these services, I'm pushing myself to take risks because I feel like I owe you that. I owe you that because if I'm asking you to take risks, I need to keep pushing myself, right? So not always preaching with a script or moving around more or involving lots of people that I don't know that well, right? And sometimes being surprised. Oh, I didn't know they were going to say that. Okay. Things like that. Well, after that flower service, is Yvette in here? I saw her today, but she might be out setting up the fair trade. I saw her. Oh, there she is. Come here. Surprise. Everyone, this is Yvette Johnson, if you don't know her. And last year, after the flower service, right, with the human bridge, right, we did all these cool things. We had costumes, we had pictures. I'm really picking on you, I know. You just have to stand here. Right, so this is Yvette Johnson. Get to know her, she's super fun. So after that service, with all that interaction in it, Yvette comes out and she says, "That was holy. I don't know how you did it because I don't believe in any of that stuff. But that was holy. That was amazing. It was holy. I don't know how you did it." It stayed with me. I knew that kind of participatory worship unlocked something in you, because person after person here told me similar things. That being a part of making what is worship, forming a bridge with our arms, shouting things out, having you interact, and not just stay asleep in your chairs, right? Coming out from the pulpit, all those things, it creates a sense of magic. It also means not just having you just recite something, but really participate back and forth. A few weeks ago at our elevator speech, Mike Pennick, Mike, is he here? There he is. Mike Pennick was my worship associate, which was awesome, because I asked you all to talk to one another about your UU elevator speeches, and I saw something really cool happen. I saw people talking to each other that didn't all know each other. And I saw people talking with the kids that also didn't know those kids. And so, inside I went, yes. Right? But Mike ran around for me, and he asked you what you thought. And some of you were really surprised to talk to one another during a service. Is that still worship? Some of you asked, did that make it a meeting? Can we just have meetings instead of worship? And I went, oh dear, they don't know what worship is. Lori, okay, the service, September, yep. What is worship? All right, good. No, we did that to make a community connection, to have a shape to some of the service that you were crafting for you. Sally Morgenthaler says that worship is a grand story enacted, not just told. It is the human adventure writ large and passionately visioned. So, I'm going to go out of this sermon quoting Marcia McPhee, and you get to participate. So I'm going to point at you, and with great gusto, you're going to say, "Hallelujah is a dangerous word." All right? If you're on Zoom, I encourage you to shout this out in your homes and make enough noise that the dog questions you and the cat ignores you. All right? Hallelujah is a dangerous word.
Hallelujah is a dangerous word.
Especially in the mouths of the creatively maladjusted. For it always comes with an exclamation point.
Hallelujah is a dangerous word.
For it is a sign of people claiming and exclaiming their sacred worth and praising that which brought them into being.
Hallelujah is a dangerous word.
For another reason, my friend, and that's because it takes an extra pointed kind of breath, and breath is life. And life, when animated, is perhaps a bit dangerous. Breath not only makes us alive, but when we gather together with others in close proximity, there's something that happens. Physiologically, that raises the amount of boldness and courage in the group body. That's science, that's proven. So what is this thing called worship that we do, and what good does it do? Hallelujah. 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 Blessed be.
Way to participate in love and blessings. Generosity opens us up for more love. It is a way to sow, to invest in the mission, and reap the blessings to come. The offering will now be gratefully received. Hallelujah.
That was beautiful, Janice. Thank you. Please stand as you are willing and able, and let us celebrate with our Jewish neighbors in singing number 216, Hashivenu. We will sing it in Hebrew, and it's pronounced as it looks, except for when you see a CH, then you have to when you say it. Okay. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, Vena Shuva, Vena Adonai Elecha Ve'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
Keep diving into the pond, my friends. And when I ask you if you want to participate in worship, one, you can write me an email today. Say I'll help. You could join the worship team. You could just do something once in a while. But keep diving into that pond and make it friendly for all and healthier for all of us. Help create that worship experience. Because the book of life is open before us. It tells stories of sadness and happiness, despair and hope, stagnation and change, and peaceful stillness that transcends both.
May you be written in the book of life. May you write your own name there in shining ink stirred together from the tears of the past and the sweet flower essence of the hoped-for future. May you know who you have been and who you are, and bless your future self with loving, brave intention. Lashana Tova, to a good new year.